You saw Patriots and Bills the week before. I mean, what a crazy game that was. Wild, to say the least. So you're the perfect person to ask about this, about what to make of the Bills in their last 4 weeks of the season. What ails them? What do you think needs to be fixed, even though their last quarter and a half in Tampa might have shown that they did finally catch a stride that they could ride, no doubt, to the playoffs. But what do you think is the missing ingredient from this year's team that was maybe there last year? What do you got for me there?
Yeah, I think, Rich, I think that we get, those of us that cover the NFL on a week in and week out basis, I think sometimes we get so caught up on a week to week and we try to find what a team is or the definition of a team on a week in and week out basis. Like this week, the Arizona Cardinals are dead, right? They got There's something wrong with them, They're 10-3. We did that with the Rams, and I think now we're experiencing that with the Buffalo Bills. And so I listen. What happened in Orchard Park against the New England Patriots, to me, that was an outlier. That game was completely different. The elements. I mean, standing on that field before the game, and I'm sitting there talking to Josh Allen. And the guy with the strongest arm in the National Football League, and I'm like, hey, bud, where can you throw it? He's like, well, I really can only throw it to this southeast corner because everything else is moving. And I'm like, bud, you got the strongest arm in the league. You're telling me that's the only place you're comfortable throwing it? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I got it. I think that the weather mitigated what the Bills do well in that game, and it accentuated what the Patriots do well. And I think that's why they won that game.
Okay.
But in a dome, that game could have come out completely different. Then they have to follow up against the Buccaneers, who I think is one of the hottest teams in the league, and they could have easily won that game. I loved what they did in the second half. And you're not going to play 4 quarters of perfect, pristine football all the time. But do you have what it takes in the end, in the second half, the fourth quarter? Does your star in Josh Allen make the plays that he needs to make to win the game? And I felt like Josh Allen did that, laid it out all on the line, and they can move forward from that. And they just made the mistake of giving, the best ever, one more opportunity. But I'm not down on the Bills. I think that they're going to regroup. I think that they have what they need. They have everything they need to compete in the playoffs, and we'll see if they can use these last couple of weeks as a rallying cry.
Now, and so who do you take in the AFC? And I'm looking at the list here. You've had the Ravens a couple of times, and you had them when, they were playing their best football all year. You had the Titans and Bills in Week 6. You saw the Chiefs against the Giants in Week 8. That was when they were beginning to make that turnaround defensively, and I know people were passing it off. It was just the Giants, but we've seen since then not an outlier. You had the Chargers beat the Raiders. That was so long ago. Gruden was the coach. So, you put it all together. Who are you putting your marker on in the AFC, Brian Griese, entering Week 15? What do you got for me here?
I think you got to look at the teams that are playing the best, maybe who are not the best teams or the best rosters, but who's playing the best football. And right now, it's the New England Patriots and the Kansas City Chiefs are playing the best football. And in the case, we know about the Patriots. Okay, we understand what's going on there, and with a rookie quarterback, and when you get to the playoffs, everything's different, and we don't know what we're going to get from a rookie quarterback. We know what we're going to get from 99% of the rest of that roster and that coaching staff and that team. We understand that, but there is that outlying question. With the Chiefs, defensively, what they have been able to do, and I know Chris Jones getting a little bit nicked up, but I think what they've been able to do, and I give credit to Steve Spagnuolo, this is not the first time he's done this.
Right.
Where he's gotten that defense to play their best when it requires their best towards the end of the season and into the playoffs. So certainly I think the Chiefs are right there. I'm concerned about Baltimore on a number of levels and what's going on there. Tennessee I'm concerned about. In fact, that division, you look at who's playing the best, you could argue it's the Indianapolis Colts and what they're doing right now. And I think that's a team to keep an eye out for. You mentioned the Chargers. I'm fired up about tomorrow night. I think what a great opportunity for that team and for Justin Herbert, who I think is playing some of his best football. So there's a lot of teams there, Rich.
Yep.
I understand that. I think that probably the division with the most problems is the North, is the AFC North, and I can't put a finger on who's going to come out,
Right.
because I don't think that any of those teams are playing well right now.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.